contribute towards the green living. Sometimes when it comes to meat like organic food, so we feel organic food is something which is natural, but is it true or not? We will ask Naveen to clarify that, so that when we go to the grocery shop we should know what exactly organic and the difference between organic and non-organic. And we are blessed today that we have very senior leadership from the corporations here, from the Indian diaspora. We have people from startup, we have people from the community. So it will be a good mix of people. What we need is to create the awareness. And when we talk about the environment protection, green living or circular economy and sustainability practice help protect our environment by reducing pollution, conserving resources, and minimizing waste. The other thing is the climate change mitigation. Adopting sustainable practice helps resource economy. Circular economy principle emphasize the efficient use of resources, reducing the need for raw material and extraction and lowering environmental degradation. You see, as an Indian, I know our mothers or grandmothers, we have been using the jugaad. We have been using our resources. We don't throw the things. We use things. Even container you are used for plantation. So we actually are very, very good with the circular economy, but we know how principally or how structurally we can do that.
For a sustainable future is not merely a choice, but an imperative. One renowned environmentalist once said, "We have not inherited this earth from our forefathers, we have just borrowed it from our children." We must not deplete the finite resources of our planet needlessly, but rather endeavor to minimize our environmental footprint, promote conservation, and build a healthier and more sustainable world. India's commitment to sustainability is deeply rooted in its ancient tradition, which have always emphasized living in harmony with nature. Today, this commitment is reflected in our nation's robust policies and ambitious target aimed at fostering a sustainable future. Our sustainable goals are intricately aligned with the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals, SDGs, providing a comprehensive blueprint for peace and prosperity for both the people and the planet. India is committed to achieving net zero emission by 2070, and we aim to generate about 50% of our electricity need from green fuels by 2030. As an emerging economy, our greenhouse gas emissions are expected to rise, albeit from a very low base. In our pursuit of development and poverty eradication goals, it is noteworthy that India's historical cumulative emission from 1850 to 2019 accounts for less than 4% of the world's cumulative carbon dioxide emission from the pre-industrial era. Despite mitigation, with an emphasis on renewable energy, energy efficiency, and reducing methane emissions. While these goals are attainable for developed countries, they pose significant challenge for countries like India. With a population exceeding 1.4 billion, the demand for energy to fuel our development is immense. A recent survey found
to do this event, it is not opposite actually, because the purpose of this space is to make an impact in the world. It might be helping others, more than that helping the environment, which is a bigger thing. So we have so many people like Kajaji, Shamji, everyone, Nagji, who are really working towards the environment. So that's the reason we are so happy this event is happening, and thanks so much for making this possible. I'll take about 1 to 2 minutes to tell about India Hub, because there are some important people who don't know what India Hub is. Some people who come here for India Hub, which is, as far as we know, world's largest Indian community center. That is not a, but we are proud to say more than that. We are getting a Guinness World Record as per the staff members from them. that we will get a world record for having highest number of services, non-profit services under one roof. So that is what we are trying to say. And on August 15th, we are going to have the largest Indian flag outside India installed here and launching here actually. That is another big thing I can say. As of now, we don't even have name outside the building saying India or anything. People struggle to find the place. But later on, this will be the center location for the country, because already Chicago is central for the country, and Schaumburg is central for the Chicago area, Greater Chicago. And that's where we are having this flag, for which people will really be connected emotionally, that we have something big to say, it is ours. And on August 17th, we are having Independence Day celebration in the parking lot for about 10,000 people with Narayan's concert, Mela, everything, promoting local business. Even we need a daycare where it is not limited to the people who are only eligible for government grant. It is open for seniors who really work hard and retired and getting good pension, but they are not eligible for daycare to get the grant. And usual daycares, they don't take the senior daycares, but here they can just come and enjoy for very nominal cost. That is one thing. The third floor, we have the whole place where the message is stay away from screens, spend time with family and friends. We have 45 caroms, 20 table tennis array this week, 4 billiards, 20 chess tables, everything where families and friends come together, particularly when they see others are playing these things which we used to play back.
Our mission primarily is to have a stronger voice for the Indian community who are living here, or we as a diaspora here, so that we work together to strengthen the bond between US and India, have a partnership to really do the cultural exchanges, community support, community work, and helping both the countries to grow. And today's event, you can see, is kind of falls purely under that as well. The purpose is to connect Indian diaspora with the government of US and India together, so that there is an exchange of economy, exchange of cultural ties between two countries. And our vision is very simple. Vision is to really play a key role for the Indian diaspora here, to bring them closer and have a partnership that we can build together to help for a better future, for a better time together. So today's program, today's lecture that Naveen is going to talk about really falls under this. Again, want to thank you. But before I introduce, I want to talk a little bit about Naveen ji. As I said, it's a long introduction. So he's a Chief Advisor for Sustainability in India. He's a National Head for Climate Action Committee.
Is try to understand US from the prism of different countries and experts outside United States, and also share their best practices and policy matters and how we can forge cooperation further. So I was invited as a part of Indo-Pacific framework cooperation, mainly in the climate and ecology context, and look at their natural resources like oceans, rivers, Great Lakes, we have one here, and how they are handling their water and solid waste management, because these are interlinked, okay? So there's nothing exclusive about it. So I've been in Washington, I was in Washington on 29th of June, about a week, and then moved to Massachusetts, spent a week out there. Washington, obviously, it's more political, so we try to understand the nature of federal government, meeting some of the key decision makers from US and some of the bureaucrats also. We kind of oriented that because they want us to know the US system, how it works, and how we should maintain certain protocols and mechanisms to work with. They have a very established system of working, US, which is very surprising for me actually. And there is little scope for deviation. So they want you to work in their system of things, their scheme of things. Whatever it's going to be, you have to come into the box. For me, how Indian diaspora and also whoever people who matters in India, whether they are policymakers or government of India or even if it is industrialist or economy, how we could take advantage of that. This is directly, I really wanted to look at the takeaways because that's all matters. So I'm setting the context now of the whole discussion, and I request now let's get into the presentation of Abhinavji. So migrate to US, because we can consider some not different technically, because there is no harmony in the environment, there is no harmony in the community, right? Intelligent creature who woke up from the planet Earth and moving around. That's the only difference. Don't think that you are different from Earth. You are Earth. So I am saying now, you are not a human being, you are Earth. So please try to take care of yourself because you are a planet Earth, right? So there is no social responsibility here, right? Everybody agrees, right? You are taking care of yourself, not doing any service now, because you are planet Earth. Now next level. Okay. Let us understand now, if at all you say you are planet Earth, let us understand what does planet Earth consists of, right? A little deeper, right? So what are the various things you see in planet Earth physically? You see water, right? Bhutiaji, something you can tell? What else planet Earth has apart from water? Yeah, you please tell, no problem. It's okay, you can tell.
Okay, air. I thought
Yeah.
what is air?
Yeah. Anybody else?
5 elements. 5
Yeah.
elements.
So we are the planet Earth, or we are constituents of 5 elements, and we are in the same composition as planet Earth. That is where we are Earth. Okay. So in this, there is one particular element we don't know, we don't see. Okay. So ma'am, as you said, why our culture is very important because of this. Because space is mystical. So that is what keeps us discovering. This is also called ether. So earth, air, fire, water, these are the 4 fundamental constituent elements which are also made of,
Body.
earth is made of, and we are also made of, and the whole space is made of, the all planetary systems. But space is one thing which is actually, we don't know the nature of space. So this space is also that space, but it's filled with air. But that space which is, we don't know what is that space, which is allowing the air, which is allowing us,
To breathe.
which is allowing all the chairs, right? So somebody in the Minneapolis, he was saying, what is this? Oh, I know what is space. It is God, it is, Atma, something like he was saying. So I said, okay, please wait. Okay, let's keep it mystical, right? Space. So now let us understand the environment, right? This is what today we are talking about, environment. What does it consist of? Because in the planet Earth, what is environment, right? So we all talked about, we as human beings also in coexistence with other species, right? Like wildlife, aquatic life, forest life, and then you have greenery, right? And then, so there are various systems, and there is carbon cycle, nitrogen cycle, everything is in synchronous, right? And this sustains one another. So various systems coming into one dynamics is called environment. Okay, so maybe United States is different from India, but still they live in the same environment, right? That is why we cannot separate the problems of what we have in India from US. That is why the global warming or the climate change affects everybody, right? Now you understand what exactly the earth and the environment has to do with us, right? It will affect each one of us. We are responsible for the planet, but we have to manage the environment, right? So what is the difference between earth and environment is that you cannot manage earth because it has the monopoly. Okay, it is the like the only dictator which makes its own terms, and it is the only leader which makes the way, and it is the only God we know. We don't know the other God. Then what is that we can do? We only can manage things. And what do we manage? We manage only environment obligations. What you do, you will face the consequence. As simple as that, right? Understand how to drive businesses towards circular economy. If you are smart enough, you will find a way. If you are not smart enough, you will find an excuse. but eventually you will find something, right? So today I am committed to work with any organization, primarily business organization, because they are the one who needs to understand. If you try to criticize them and give all kinds of, madam says, strapas, so in the traditional context, it's not going to work, right? You need to find them viable ways. It could be technology, it could be business proposition, it could be social responsibility, the way they can spend money and contribute to the society, right? So business plus sustainability is the solution, right? So I have to do left and right here. Keep it interactive, not Q&A. You can take up the Q&A after this thing. I'm available here. So we're going to close it in 5 minutes. So let's come to the point. Now, we need to set up resource management systems, right? Everybody has money. Everybody has resources like water, electricity, waste, textiles, clothes. You have your wardrobes filled with clothes, and you have infrastructure. Somebody was saying that I have full, who was that? Somebody who said that, I have bring the whole infrastructure here. Somebody was telling me. And woman has beautiful hair like that. Similarly, everybody has some resources. You need to manage them well in a cyclical manner. Means what is that you're utilizing, you have to give back. That's what circularity means. So that is how the essence of giving came into picture. Like in our country, we say what you need, don't you need, please give it back to somebody or give it to somebody else. And we call in Hindi, it is called dana. Just vehicles or high power engines or nuclear power plant. Somebody was saying, right, nuclear power, yourself. So use it. If this is going to solve the problem today and for the next millennia, please use it. There is no such thing as bad, because nuclear stuff is also coming from the planet, right? It is not coming from the Mars or Venus. As long as you know how to handle scientifically, you have to use it. This is the logic of using any technology or any solution. There is no good or bad as far as we understand. As Indian diaspora in US, ma'am, also from India there. So everywhere global diaspora, what we understand in India is that nothing good and bad. The way you use and when you use is what is going to make good and bad. So if you say electric vehicle 50 years ago, people will say no, because you have to move goods and services and people from one continent to other continent, which you can't do through electric, right? It's be very foolish. Try to do. So Steve.
Good evening, Naveen ji. Let's hear from you here in Chicago. We're right in Schaumburg. When we talk about this world sustainability, the best practices, it starts within, to be very honest. And we talk about the 5 elements and then geopolitical. There are so many things which is like, coming from the continent, my Janam Bhumi to my Karam Bhumi. And there are so many alliances which comes G20, G7. There's lot many talks and talks and talks. But within, like as you means, so let's hear from you, your experience since you've been in US, touring, traveling. So what has the reception from the people? Because we do talk, but it's a time for the action. As I mentioned, infrastructure, that is limited. We all know that, because it is not that something that you can, because God has given resources, very limited resources, but the way the usage has been increasing, that is alarming over the period of time. I did mention 5 billion to 9 million where we were in earth, water, everything. Like, some countries are struggling even to have a drinking water. And that's happening, and somewhere there's so much floods and floods and floods. Can we not get that water? Like a common man thinks about that, So we saw the presentation also. Congratulations for it and this initiative, and how individual can be part of it.
Yeah, so primarily here in the United States, there's a lot of focus needs to be given in water quality, because there is a lot of microplastics which are present, which is not many people know about it, and not much of work is done on this front. So there is a lot of awareness, and scientific instruments needs to be in place, and EPA needs to come in on big time. I know there are some organizations which NOAA from Washington Department of Commerce, and there are some state agencies and non-profit organizations are active in it, but still largely about 90% it is unaddressed. So we need a lot of technology infrastructure to deal with big problem. That is the biggest problem what I have understood, that the microplastics in water, and to some extent there is a contamination from wastewater or sewage you could call. There are some political aspects which cannot go in detail about it because it's a sensitive matter, but there are a lot of issues in the California area and coastal areas and Great Lake systems where people needs to be more sensitive and really talk to the community leaders and mayors and council planning commission members and work out a solution on it. Yeah.
Because when we talk about the United States of America, you know that you must have studied it by now, you must have received it by now, because it is not what central government is going to decide like a federal government, because municipalities has their own codes, states have their own codes, and the federal, so that has to be from, what do you feel? The approach has to be bottom down or the up down?
Yeah, definitely it is bottom up, but US federal government has a big role because environmental rules are framed by EPA, so the Environmental Protection Agency, which can largely make policy issues, policy matters and frame rules which will make easier for the state administration and also the council members of the particular metropolitan or a town. And then you can formulate an action plan which will derive from the regulations from the US federal administration.
On a concluding note, what the diaspora, your engagement with them, and what is your message, you are engaging with them on a different cities that you have been traveling, what can they do and what are you expecting from them?
Well, the diaspora is very sensitive, not only in India, around the world. They have been always, and I'm sure they have a big role because as conventionally, I spoke about in the beginning part of my talk that every time our Indian community or the diaspora has contributed something to the world, right? So Swami Vivekananda was here in Chicago, he was talking about the harmony. So environmental harmony is big time the need of the hour, and the diaspora who understand the principles of nature and also yoga needs to be, practice this more often and spend around. And then you need to do community work also to bring the environmental resources and environmental degradation to arrest also.
We wish you all the best and good luck. Thank you so very much.
Thank you everyone. Thank you to TV Asia for having me. Thank you so much. Yeah.
Thank you, Nirmala ji.